Good morning. This is Susan of the North, also known as Susan Hintz-Epstein, with the weekly overview of the Rune of the Day podcast. The first rune I drew for November 24th, Sunday, is Nauthiz. Nauthiz is the rune of need, constraint, limitations, but it might be simply that today you are worrying about things that you haven't yet calculated the cost for, or worried about the cost of life with inflation growing as it will continue to grow throughout 2025. Um, I say that although I'm not an expert on the financial system, I do know that the tariffs, et cetera, planned by the incoming president-elect have led in the past to more inflation. So if that's what you're worried about, take stock of your life, take stock of the needs of your life, cut back to what is comfortable. Find ways to make yourself happy beyond the American habit of acquiring new things. There is family and friends to enjoy. There are pets. There are walks in nature. Life offers so much more than our capitalistic society would have you believe in. Family, friendships, relationships, all of these are key to getting through times of hardship and constraint. But take heart, because on Monday, the rune that arises is Wunyo. Wunyo is the rune for absolute joy. So maybe you'll take a look at your situation and find that things aren't as bad as you feared, or that despite your worries, you can meet the situation. And this is also a rune of joy that we find in our kinship relationships and in times with other people. So it's all positive. On Tuesday, we do, however, have the rune of sudden change and disruption. We don't always know what source this is going to come from. When it's a personal thing, sudden change can lead to new opportunities. Sometimes one has to do the work of demolishing what no longer works so that one can move on with greater clarity and freedom. Other times it is just a general energy going on in the mass public of shitstorms. I'll just use it that way. I am a professional driver and I'm on the road a lot. And the last time I drew this rune, I noticed a lot of first responders and policemen leaving their stations in pursuit of things that probably were not good. So this is Hagalaj. Everything I want to point out to, everything has a positive aspect and a negative aspect. One could say active aspect or passive aspect. This rune bridges the two sides, and it also makes room for becoming whole. You can spell that WHOLE, where if you are in a spiritual pursuit, bridging the differences within yourself is another step toward holiness, if you want to look at it that way. That is the rune for Tuesday, Hagalaj. On Wednesday, and Wednesday being Odin's Day, Woden's Day, that's where the names come from of some of the days of the week, the Old Norse gods. We draw Odin's rune, Gar. This is Odin's spear. Odin is the chooser of those who are slain to become the chosen warriors at the end times, Valhalla. This can speak to those of us who are incarnated in this lifetime to fight through the times of darkness, to stand in our own light, to guide the human collective through the darkness of their own ignorance and lack of understanding. It is also a rune I have discovered in my own practice of choosing, of choices I make. So perhaps today you're being called upon to make a choice toward your own destiny. This is the rune Gar for Wednesday, the 27th of November. And for Thanksgiving Day, we have the Journey Rune, but it appeared on its side, which in my way of interpreting things could go either way. So if this has found you today, you can make a choice for life or against life, or perhaps there is a twist or turn approaching in your own journey in which the outcome is not totally clear. Sometimes when this rune finds itself upside down, it can mean a trip to the hospital, ill health. I don't want to wish that on anyone, but if that is the case for you, just be prepared. This is a day of Thanksgiving, and as such, I can come back to my earlier interpretation. We can stand in our gratitude, which is a pro life choice, or we can feel the twisting and uncertainty of the times and feel worried and fearful and caught up in our negative emotions, which is an anti life choice. So, through a gratitude practice, and this is a great day for it, Thanksgiving. Thank God I have shelter. I have food in the larder. I have an income so far that is sufficient to my needs. I'll be seeing family. And it's a wonderful day to honor all that is good. Whether everything is good, remember that what you focus on is what you attract. This is Rido, the rune for Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. On Friday, it's Black Friday for some of us. Some of us go out, some of us don't. I personally don't like the crowds. But this is the rune Deyage. This is a rune of breakthrough, epiphanies, insights garnered. Whatever you've been going through, daybreak has come, and you have reached a new transformative level of being. The shape of the rune itself is kind of indicative of that, with the butterfly that has metamorphosized from a caterpillar into its new form of life. So here is more reason to be grateful. And on Saturday, we have the rune for movement, Awaj. Awaj is always a beneficial rune, whether it comes up on its side, as it did, and interpreting that in a similar manner to what I interpreted for Rido on Thanksgiving Day, there is movement and there's a slowing down of movement. Nothing is still, nothing is written in stone. Remember that fortune telling is never set in stone. It only predicts the most likely outcomes of what is going on for a person at the present moment. So if you've had a good reading or a bad reading, there's always a way to turn things around. Don't sit passively with your life and let a fortune teller like myself or anyone else tell you that this is how it must be. What I like to do is draw a rune a day. That gives me a forewarning, if you will, or a foretelling on the energy of the day, and I can accommodate that energy that is coming toward me with my actions, behavior, thoughts, and ideals in such a way to make the best day I can have. Now, granted, not every day is a good day, but even the bad times are to be learned from. If you're on the path of self knowing and you're on the path of spiritual growth, wanting to ascend to your best self, then you go through the bad times willingly and look at the challenges provided to get an idea of your triggers, your reactivity, or your capacity to respond. I use the terms reaction and response differently. Reaction is something that sort of comes from the animal nature, that which fights or flees or freezes. And response is something that comes from our higher nature. We can respond to a situation without expressing negative emotion, or we can express our negative emotion in a positive way, as such to let go of it. So, this is the thought I would leave with you for today. Remember that if you like my work You can subscribe to this podcast. You can access it through the domain name runeoftheday.com. I also have two blog sites, runeclasses.com and nornerscorners.com. I would love to have you at both. I'm looking forward to sharing my work and my visions with people who can benefit from them. So I wish you on this day of November 24th, a blessed Rune week ahead. I'm Susan of the North.